Okay, hey everybody. So for today, let's do this. Okay, everybody, let's get rolling. Let's see. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, everybody. Just a couple seconds of what we learned over quarantine. Playing music every day, liking biking. They like to see me rolling, pretty awesome. Independence is precious. My calling is baking. That's a good life. I can eat fried rice every day and still be happy. My calling is not baking. I like a lot of TV shows. I love sleeping, love my bed. I can't digest gluten, whatever that is, I support it. People need people to be happy, actually. I actually mostly don't mind it, fair enough. I like real people. I'm actually more of an introvert. I'm gay. I love Dolly Parton. I like chess. Oh my gosh. I met Carol Baskin in second grade. Find me afterwards and tell me that story. Oh my God. I like seeing people. I'm very attached to my reading is fun, attached to my dog. Awesome. Cool. Thank you for that. I just enjoyed those quick snapshots of you all. So today we're going to be talking about empirical studies in rare smells at this discussion. By the way, lecture is on the before lecture. I post them up everything so that or just kind of like work out and do today, so about that. Presets start this week, so you should be knowing. Those are the background of the things for Thursday, and we're going to talk in this lecture about one of the papers, that we use in preset. We'll talk a little bit about that study, but that class of studies in here. Why this lecture? A year ago, roughly today, I guess it was September, we were working, and this was the breakout of the Black Lives Matter protests after the killing murder ritual. And in early September, there was there were calls amongst the university faculty for a strike for one day. And I was talking about that, I couldn't remember reunion more like us. We started working with someone in college, a teacher union, a public school teacher, grad students, so I guess it's not an emergent activity from my life, but I don't care about particularly something. But I wasn't quite sure what a strike activist would be exactly. What I was thinking is where's my expertise, right? Like, what can I do here? And that's on the design of empirical studies. That's kind of what I spend my working days. Quantitative analyses in particular. And my issue, my understanding of covered politics and race is no longer very expertise in finance and amongst certainly most of us as amongst most people who are focused on education. So when we talk about these things, I look forward to learning from you. Please raise your hand, go ahead and comments or questions. But what I'd like to do is help share a couple studies that I've read on the issue of race and politics that are recent and help inform writers. Okay. We will be talking about as we have this course from how was the studies designed, what makes these persuasive, right? Oh my God, that's not a bad thing. Okay. All right. So, this course is going to be, this lecture, The course itself is designed in part to help understand the social world better through quantitative studies. That's when we mix of reading and talking about the studies as well as analyzing the data. So we'll see that. I think you're going to use it, right? Okay. All right. The goal of today is just applying some of that to these studies from the last 2 years that have been particularly important in my own mind. So the studies we're going to discuss. The first are studies of individual behavior. All of these are studies that talk about some of which we've spoken about. Many of these ideas of the forces and methods and we have. One of the first studies about the study is called the audit study. The audit studies actually date back to the early 1970s in the United States after the Fair Housing Act, where the Department of Housing and Urban Development would send in observationally equivalent people except one white and one black and try to get them to go in houses, right, apartments and houses. Under the law, they need to be treated the same, and this was a means of enforcement. Okay? So it gets back to the audit in the early 70s, that's why it's called audit concerns. The one we focus on, we'll see a few others in this course, but the one we focus on today is the pager that focuses on race and employment in this study actually led to the Make the Box School. Does anyone know the point? I guess I want to take a stab at what I'm saying.
And the question that asks you if you have a criminal record and find fault.
That's exactly it. When you apply for a job, most job applications have a little box that says check your felony, and then maybe in order to explain. Okay. The advantage of the box when we think about doing this. The second one we're going to look at is actually an action analysis. So it's not that it's not to looking at the effect of incarceration on civic participation. The next two are actually on mass political behavior. The third one we're going to look at is on the effect of violent protests on political action. And this one was particularly apropos a year ago. And we can talk about why we just put it out today. The last one, we're going to look at how race impacts democracy. I'll go into that a little bit. That's silly idea. We'll discuss the implications of racial resentment on policies and democracy and people's trust in democracy. And the fourth one will be a study on policing. Any one of these is a full course. But these are four that for various reasons of design and statistics. I found them particularly persuasive. Okay, and I'll structure my own understanding. So I just wanted to share things with you. So the first one is the impact of a criminal record on people. And the study was an audit study. It was really a fascinating piece of work. A fascinating study. The author, Bob Pager, was in the time working in POL. Okay? And at least in my imagination, at the time, when I was thinking, like, where did I really find lots of racist behavior? I would think of, or, you know, looking this out, right? This is Milwaukee, it's like Robert's area. For those of you who followed the ocean last year, it turns out that there's a lot more happening there in terms of racial racism. Then a lot of people realized certainly it was now it's kind of in the early 2000s when the study was out. So what she did, what she took forecasted. Two were black, two were white, and then she did everything to make them as similar as possible. Haircuts, clothes, practice, interviewing with everybody, generating the script, trying to keep everybody as similar as possible, except one presented as black and one presented as white. We'll talk about part of this later in the course. We can do that a little bit. So the two black testers had stereotypically black ones that would be recognized as black upon being recognized that choose stereotypically white. Okay. And then the details. Alternating days, they have one white tester. Oh, this requires a little background information. She actually took out the L11 section of the newspaper. For those of you unfamiliar, newspapers like the internet, but printed out. And it contained people would post their jobs with an address or a phone number or something like that. So the testers were alternate days, one black and white, black and white. And then they actually, within the days, alternate who were applying, which one of their mice and more in which they were applying. And they send out an application to every single household. Then, the difference between them, this is a little bit of construction. I recommend it. Two of the testers had a resume. The resumes were all identical, except that one of the black testers and one of the white testers reported having done. And I hope people start to see where this is going, right? A couple of the neat questions that came out of here is how to construct the background, because you had a felony and you were being in prison for 2 years. What do you do with a group that's not a felony, that didn't have a felony during that time period? Right, and then you read the paper, she goes into a lot of these sort of questions about how to construct people. So the testers visit, they walk over to the employers, resume, fill out an application and proceed as far as the from filling out an application all the way to an interview. The outcome that the study focused on is did they get a call? Right? Because you go in, you get a resume, your phone number on it, you get a call. All the jobs are entry level positions, so we're talking bussing tables, washing dishes, that sort of thing. So this came out in 2003, the American Journal of Sociology, the mark of a criminal record. These are the results. This is the proportion getting a callback. And we're going to go through two different parts of this analysis. The first part, we're going to compare the felony rate to the non-felony rate. And what you'll see is that the bar on the right are for non-felons, and the bar on the left are for felons. Mind you, everything else is as identical as the things. Okay. So in this case, for white respondents having a felony, it drops from 34 to 17% probability to be caught. Everything else is identical as the thing. For the black applicants, it dropped from 45%. Right? So what we're finding is a causal effect of having a felony on your record, and it just dramatically reduces your chances for getting a callback. And that's the insight that led to that first kickoff that we had last week. We'll talk about those things. The second comparison I want to point out, and this comes out of the research I believe towards that, is the callback rate for whites with the felony is 70%, and for blacks without the felony is 14%. And I remember when this paper came out, all of those blacks with that existed, and they were like, oh my God. I didn't realize, right, the magnitude. Then the callback rate for a white person with a felony is better than the callback rate for a black person. So let's listen to English in terms of force reducing. One reason studies internal validity, the fact that all the 4 applicants were managed as much as possible, as equivalent as possible, every single ratio. Only randomized about it at That's what gives it an internal validity. The internal validity is established by the fact that all the applicants are as similar as possible, except some have felonies and some don't. That allows us to estimate the amount. What about external validity? This study, where we go to the internal external trade-off that we've been doing, This study is a slice of behavior in 2000 and 2001 law. Does it carry through today in Milwaukee? Does it carry through in states that are Wisconsin? Does it work at the high end of the distribution map? This is 2000, what about today? And those are the questions that external group. This study was one of the first ones to draw attention and focus on internal validity as its primary first order concern. In order to establish external validity, this is just the start of a research project. So along those lines, let's talk about a few more studies. The links are all active. There's more on this study at that link. A meta-analysis was done about 5 years ago. And there's 2 different ways to establish external validity, but they all involve replicating the same experiment logic. A meta-analysis was done in 2016 where a large number of this experiment, like if you just lay out the administrative work on this experiment, it could be a single thesis. It would be a really good one, but it's the sort of thing before people apply to jobs, you know, the sort of thing that you can do. What happened is after the study came up, a lot of people advocated. Not just a senior dissertation, but research studies with very positive design. And a meta-analysis takes a large number of studies that all ask basically the same question and just checks, does this hold with all the studies that we know? The result does hold up. Being a felon does dramatically reduce the chances of being employed when you die. The black-white pattern that was found in the original study shows up in some numbers, but the quality of the results still holds. There's a meta-analysis, which is an analysis of multiple studies together. A second type of study that's growing more prominence, and certainly with science, is a multi-site study. So what this would entail is replicating this study at 3 major cities and 4 rural areas at roughly the same time. Okay. So meta-analysis takes a bunch of existing studies and aggregates them. A multi-site study runs the same experiment with a bunch of different places. Both of these for different reasons are relatively recent phenomena. Both have been around for a while, but they've been taking off in the last few years, just to learn what's up there. These sorts of audit studies are nice because they give a very good message. Right? Like I sent to this person, I sent to that person, we can include pictures of these people. Here's description practice, here's clothes they wear, etc. Right? For this next study, the link there goes to a newspaper, a news magazine out of Long Island that did an audit study on people trying to find things in Long Island. Long Island has a long history of ritualism and segregation. You know, a lot of countries go with these other things. But this was today, all of that was in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. This was today. And what the newspaper found, sending out pairs of people, different realtors, and adjacent neighborhoods, is that the direct link of white people to white neighborhoods, black people to majority black neighborhoods, was all this. Come back at night and look at this corner again before you cross over to the stage of a white person, while encouraging a black person with no such common to a black person. So it's a sort of subtle, but still legal things that are happening. The last one, the role of anecdotes is not data. But at the end of the day, we're on the source with it, right? And I want to encourage everybody to have, when you do your particular studies, have an illustrated anecdote that is notable. I can run through some of my favorites on another day, but this is actually a really nice one that pairs up nicely to us. The nice thing about an illustrated anecdote is that it allows the reader to advertise and understand what we're talking about first. So in this case, if you look at that, those 2 New York Times articles, there was a couple, Irish couple, husband and wife, they wanted to get a house right. The appraiser shows up, and by happenstance that mean that the husband, who's again white, had the kids, over who taking them camping something, right? The appraiser goes and says this house worth $330,000. The husband comes back and the wife goes, yeah, no, that's not how much this house is worth. I can actually look around my neighborhood and tell you that they were looking to sell their monetary housing. So what they did was, this time, they called a different appraiser. This time, purposefully, they had the wife was black. Kids are gone, they took out pictures of her side of the family. Took out the photos, they took out like she was a foreign person. Okay, those ones are gone. Replaced with, I don't know, like New Shakespeare or something, right? But like, they went through and took out all indications that she lived there. And the auditor comes back and prices the house at $465, not 2 weeks later. What I like about that as an anecdote is it really captures, I think, a very clean and internally valid and one, right? Just one observation. But it sort of captures the dynamics of it. So that's the audit studies. We'll hit several other audit studies as the course continues. The next study is on incarceration. This also came up quite a bit over the last year. And the proportion of Americans incarcerated is more than unless you actually been informed on these rates, they're just they're shocking. Massive numbers of people incarcerated in this country, and it concentrates on Black Americans. And those are two qualitative effects. The peak for mass incarceration was around 2006. It's been trending downwards since, so it's still really bad, but it's still really horrible. And it concentrates in particular areas. This is just a qualitative pattern of incarceration. This is just a qualitative pattern. The qualitative pattern of incarceration. This next study is to come back and look at the effect of incarceration on participation. Where does this come from? In political science, we kind of figured out, like, we were trying to figure out why people vote for like 80 years. And we kind of think we got into the variables set. We vote cast, your race or ethnicity, income, education, age, home ownership does a little bit, but like there's sort of a standard average variables, right? This next study came along and showed actually that incarceration leads to a larger effect than anyone else. The effect of incarceration on representation of democracy by people who are incarcerated and living incarcerated is in a word for life. And that's what this study set out to explore and what it eventually found. So how did they do that? What is the question they asked? What is the incarceration on how citizens are to the state? The basic problem, and we'll read this again in the next episode, we talked about it's going to be the same. The basic problem is that people in this country are not incarcerated again. We don't say we want 3 million Americans incarcerated and then just pull out social security numbers. Okay? It follows patterns and socioeconomic status, race, age, all these things. So, there are differences between incarcerated and non-incarcerated people on observable characteristics and unobservable characteristics. So I can go ahead and ask you a better question about that reference in history. But then there's an unobserved characteristic, which is roughly criminal proclivity, which is just talking about. And when we come to the sorts of things we can observe and the sorts of things we can't observe. So in this one, it uses what's called a longitudinal study. A longitudinal study is when we find data on the same observations at different times. This is no time period where we can go with before I hope. The important point is that we have observations on the same, that we observe the same units in consecutive times. And that's where the study is. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to use matching to observe to adjust to the observed values. And then they're going to use, so what is matching? What they're going to do, see if I can image 1 second. What they're going to do is they're going to take people who are in jail and match them to observationally equivalent people who are not incarcerated. So they take each person that's incarcerated and different ways to do this. So they take each person that's incarcerated and then they go over here to people that aren't incarcerated and find someone who looks as similar as possible across all the characteristics that we have. Okay. So what we're doing is we're saying, here's our treatment group, which are the people who are incarcerated. We're going to create a synthetic control group for people who weren't incarcerated in order to estimate the effect of incarceration. And that's what's happening in this particular study. This is political consequences of the carceral state. So what did they find? And in order to adjust for unobserved confounders, so they do this matching at time 0, but this is a particularly clever part of the study. They only include in their analysis people who are going to jail later in their lives as a measure of criminal ability. So what we end up finding is that the causal estimates, the effect of being incarcerated on political participation, is about 13 percentage points, which is at least as large, if not larger, than all of the sort of democratic variables, or even used to before this study. So what we found is that when comparing people who are incarcerated to observations similar to people who were not incarcerated, the effect of incarceration is about 13 percentage points. And that's in terms of turn down below that line. And that's just a huge effect in this area. Normally, I've done a little bit in this area, and we're chasing effects of 0.5% to 1% at this point. Next study comes from someone who did this study while I was there, Professor Ross. And he's looking at the aftermath of if you have a chance to meet him, he has a fascinating history of parents on street voters, and he's going part of somewhere. Just really. And what he wanted to know, this motivated the first part of his academic career. Why did Martin Luther King Jr. the rights after the assassination of MLK to do such backlash? And that's the question he wants to answer. These are two different pages. The top left graph, because that's actually Philadelphia. And on this one, actually, just making these weeks ago, you'll see our Princeton at count, right? Anyone want to take a super left there? Okay. Move.
Yes.
Sorry.
And they find house.
No, go for it.
Oh, okay. So there was just like a recent conference last summer. That was discovered that class that was on Coursera, but in partnership with like the University of Pennsylvania. There's a college course that we grown for them to start. To talk about like how trauma bodies that are without
That's what the numbers found out, right? So this stuff is real. It's living out. There it is. Was it 84? Okay. And Philadelphia, about right. The second picture is actually from Wisconsin. If folks follow the file right house and that whole thing, I'm going to here. All I'm trying to say is the slide that there's immediacy in this all in your memory. So the question being posed is, when we have these riots, what's the political backlash, right? Like, what is the political effects of these riots? And it's going to involve counterfactual laws. So let's start with this. What was the effect of the post-MLK assassination, 1968 riots on white voter behavior? Someone who became assassinated, cities across the United States are watching the riots. I think if you have a chance, especially if you're a citizen, try to have your grandparents and ask about their conversations. No matter it's seared in the memories. My mother-in-law will not go to Trenton to this day because of those riots. Okay, this is the sort of thing that across America just have a profound impact. So just ask them. The protests were violent, and it was an election year, April 1968. Okay, that was the year that Johnson and Humphrey Wallace were in the position. Now, as before, we heard about the riots not violence. This is not the case that people woke up and they turned their hair and said, let's have a violent riot. Okay, they're not that random. So they were going to estimate the possible effect. You can separate them to isolate. So what the study does is it can bring them. It turns out it's a lot easier to riot in good weather than rainfall. I'm not sure if anyone's broke today. If you protested last year, it was more fun in nice weather or rain. That's right. Okay. So what he did was he used that as a randomization. And he takes cities where there was a riot. Then he takes cities where there was not a riot because of rainfall. But plausibly there would have been. And then he measured the effects of the voter backlash against the riots. Does that make sense? Yeah. There were some cities in which there were riots, and there was no rain. There were some cities in which there weren't riots, largely because of bad weather. So then, he took the cities in which there was he measured the voting behavior in the cities in which there were riots, and compared them to the cities in which the rioting was discouraged. Does that make sense? There were some statistical things happening, but that's the reason. Question?
The idea that the cities were, how was this that city that had rain was going to have protest?
For the question, that is exactly the question. How do we know that the rainfall is actually encouraging versus discouraging? Right, encouraging or discouraging? Bracket that question. Assume for now that cities where there was no rainfall, there were private cities in which there was those. There's a little statistical. We'll get to that in the results. For now, just take a look. Any other questions on the results? So what he was able to do is look at the effect. He was able to measure the effects of riots encouraged by good weather on vote share, and by this point, largely in the white suburban communities outside the city, where there was that. He measured that. He also did a really fascinating placebo test. A placebo test is a test where you know the effect is zero. It actually targets medical studies where we get a pill that's either a medicine or a sort of powder or something like that. And it's a test where we know the effect is zero. So what he did is he said, when there was rainfall during the week of Friday, he does this stuff. He replicated the same analysis in cities that experienced rainfall the week prior to the assassination. And as you guys know about that. So what he did was he found cases where there was an effect and showed it there. And then found cases where there shouldn't be an effect and showed there wasn't. So what did he get from this particular analysis? Over here is the placebo test. These are cities in which there was rainfall April 1st to 3rd, and he finds no effect on vote shares. If you look, these confidence bars cross 0. So it looks to be noise. Then he finds an effect actually against Johnson in these cities, April 4th to 10th, where there's rainfall April 4th to 10th. So the rainfall is actually causing a backlash to Lyndon Johnson. The lack of rainfall is encouraging riots, which is causing a backlash to Lyndon Johnson. This is a counterfactual map of the 1968 US presidential election. As I mentioned, it was between Johnson, who was a Democrat, they had a economic still, but also had the similar exact numbers. Running against Nixon, and also there's Wallace, who was a Democrat. And what happens is he's able to estimate which states split from Johnson to Nixon because of white backlash. And what he shows is if you look at the states up there, that would be Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and New Jersey. We're actually, sorry. What you find is that absent the riots, those states would have gone for a country, but instead they are. So what he ends up showing is that the 1968 race was lost to the Democrats because of white backlash against the riots after the assassination of Martin Luther King. For people who followed the news during the election year last year, it kind of sent a shudder up the press. Like, oh my God, there are these Black Lives Matter protests going to against Joe Biden. And the folks followed the news during the protests. That was an active conversation amongst people. It turns out, and the reason why they're sort of into that discussion was an article that talks about the original paper and talks about some of the reasons why not. And I will leave that up to you, but this is a question that I started with. He showed to the extent that social science, for acceptable standards, that actually white backlash against the riots in inner cities in 1968 led to hunger increasing against Nixon in 1968. He showed that as best as a person, as best as we'll be able to do this, right? And principally, objectively, the question of external validity is, does that process still hold steady? And it didn't. The backlash actually went the other way. And my own 2 cents on that, which I think that a little bit can't quite establish, is that whiteness in this country doesn't change away from being proportionally white ethnic to just a more homogenous sense of whiteness that actually doesn't want to be seen as overtly racist. That's my 2 cents. If other people have any thoughts on that, raise your hand or else you can go out. Yeah. Yeah, so there were a lot of other things happening. There was COVID happening. So 2008, so there were a lot of other things happening. That just made the law attributing the cause of the election to whatever was the last study that I read. The last thing I spoke about. All of these things just kind of lost in the he isolated the effect in 1968. But there could have been a similar effect in 2020 that was actually overwhelmed by how COVID was actually. The next study, this asks the common question: what's the effect of ethnic integrity on support? And I included this last year, and only God did it research January 6th. Okay, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. But this study came out in 2009. Okay, early 2009. by Larry Russell, who's got a center here, who's in Vanderbilt now. And what he wanted to know is, as students about the campaign, what happens to Republican support for democracy? Just democracy in general, as experiments, right? And what's methodologically interesting about this is the way he measured ethnic activities. We talked about indices before, where we asked a whole host of questions. That's the sort of work we did here using the survey. Then what he did was how he asked, how does this relate to support for democracy? Let's take a look at the results. When he created an ethnic antagonism index, one of the important things we read is if you ever see somebody that's like, hey, we use a measure for ethnic antagonism, raise your hand and just ask how it's made. What's in there? Right? Political scientists are finding a measure called racial resentment. Some of my work is sort of different, they're just not. They polarize that they don't find the see that they have. Okay? The ethnic antagonism measure, on the positive side, includes measures and surveys of unfair government resources towards immigrants. So the more you think unfair government, it's unfair government resources towards immigrants, African Americans, Latino poor people, the higher you are on this index. The more you think it's unfair, the political power that immigrants, African Americans, Latino poor people have, the higher you are on this index. The more you think there's discrimination against white people, that's the lowering concern, that welfare recipients are better off than people who work with those sorts of questions, the more you break down those questions, the higher you are in terms of ethnic antagonism. On the other are total questions. Do immigrants contribute to society? You say yes, you're on the lower. Feelings towards welfare recipients, Muslims, immigrants, poor people, how close you live to immigrants and Latinos. So the higher you break down those questions, the lower you are. One thing I recognize if you go to this paper, this particular excerpt I pulled is very important. It's really relevant work, but we see these measures of, we talked about running democracy the other day, where we see these measures, and you're studying it in your course or for your own work, you need to know where it's coming from. And know exactly how it's made. So what does he show? Along the x-axis are measures of ethnic. So how I represent that measure. The y-axis is average agreement with the following claims. Right, this was January 2020, election was November 2020, and the January 6th was 2020. So in this case, as there's more ethnic, as it's for hiring ethnic ethnicism as for Republican voters, the higher you are reporting it's hard to trust elections. We must use force to save our way of life. Strong leaders bend the rules, and we have to take law into our own hands. The higher you score in this index, it's predicted that you'll be more likely to agree with those claims. And this came out of early 2020, 10 months before the election. So whatever was tapped into between the election day and the inauguration, it has been it was identified by social scientists in advance. The last one, there are a number of fascinating papers on policing to discuss. I kind of picked one that was a little easier to talk about. The top row is Michael Brown and Derek Wilson, and for oh boy, I think the exact month Michael Brown was shot, but I believe Derek Wilson was acquitted of acquitted all charges in November of 2014. The bottom pictures are old ones. The day after they fled. How old were people during first? 6 to 14? Is it a memory for you? Like, is it? Because I'm guessing like just the 20 years of 9/11, that's like extra. Right, generally speaking. Ferguson's a political memory? Yeah. One of the first ones? Just, can you shout out your first political memory? Just like, what's the first? I just want to know. Yeah. Just so you know, like, how they work. Okay. So this study is, I sort of joke about this study. This study is going to establish that police are actually more respectful towards white people than black people. Yeah, that's right. But one of the nice things about it is you see people's natural processing. Was that an impression I had higher study past? But if I had an impression about something to back it up, it's just in that process. Okay. So this is one of those cases where it's nice to actually pin down this question. And mind you, when I talk about these studies, they all could have gone the other way. There's an honesty in these studies, in that it could have turned out that, and we'll see some ways in which the police are equally treat black and white people equally by measure, but we will discuss. So the other thing was they took recorded interactions at police stops. Right, they did while driving. After Oakland started requiring body cams and quiet while driving. These folks in this team got their hands on a ball ago. Had a transcribe for your own research and services that you had area. Then they had people listen to the audio and bring it across different dimensions. I'll show you the different dimensions. But like respect, formalism, that sort of thing. And then multiple people rankings. That's what they did. This is pretty cool. Was they took those rankings and background and attributed to different words or word phrases or utterances, which ones are more respectful or not by police officers. And then they were able to break it down by the race of both the officer and the person involved. And that's what the study did. So this is an example. This study, the first one, has a respect score of negative 1.07, which is just really low. This is a case where it was scored that hey, that's that driver's license there. It's showing suspended. Is that's you? No one is it. The bottom line, it just says that you fixed it. No problem. Thank you very much, sir. I'm not trying to figure that out. And those are examples of the sentences that get high in those scores. If you ever do this sort of analysis, which is very much the sort of thing that is done by students and faculty here, always include these levels of sentences so you can look at the top one and go, yeah, that's not very respectful, bottom or that one. So in the last few seconds, focusing on the right-hand side, there are two different dimensions that they get, respect and formality. And you can read the paper to see where these come from, but they find that officers are much more respectful to white people than black people. But they're equally formal world. So the formality is the same, that's kind of what's dictated by the law. But the respectfulness in tone and also word choice is higher, measured higher for white people.